Hey there, happy days. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here with What's She Up To Now? Documenting the journey as I transition, as I know it's all about me, as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. This is where I document and I document my journey of what I'm doing as I go from the offline world to the brick and mortar world to the online world. And the trials and the tribulations, the ups and downs, and there have been many, because today is day 854. And I was online probably 6 months, maybe longer, might have been close to a year before I even got up the guts to make a video, to make my first video. On much prodding and much poking and much begging and saying and convincing of people that know better that I needed to get online. And as I was losing my vision is very, very bad. As that was deteriorating, I was coming more and more online. And so I think it's fortuitous that I decided I would start documenting my journey verbally and I guess visually, but verbally, to capture what I've done, because otherwise I would really not have a way. I used to always journal and write everything down in journals and in books and keep track of my life that way, with the exceptions of the ones I burned in my 20s because I didn't really want my kids to see them someday. I knew I was going to have kids someday. So, you know, that's our life experience. But I wanted to find a way to capture that, to share the lessons that I've learned with others, but also myself, to go back once in a while, which I will admit, I never go back and look at my videos because it's the same as when I started doing them. If I had watched and looked at any one of my videos, even today I do that. I'll every time they turn off the camera, it's like, okay, that really stunk, or that sucked, or whatever I say, because we self-judge ourselves, right? Oh, I forgot to say this, or I forgot to say that. Have you ever been in one of those discussions or arguments with somebody, and as soon as you walk away, you know, you're all heated and you knew what you're going to say, you confront them, you say stuff, and then you walk away and you're like, oh, I forgot to say this, I forgot to say that, I forgot about this, I forgot about that. I don't know, been there maybe a few hundred times, right? Where you're worked up about something and you wish you'd said it something, or you wish you'd said it more eloquently or whatever. Same of our videos. Every time I get off a video, I do a supersize your business piece every day for my business owners. And I take an idiom and I find out what does it mean, where did it come from, and how can they apply it to their business life, or might they be able to apply it to their business right now. And every time I turn one of those off, I'm like, oh, that sucked, because we always do that. And if I were to do that, I never would have made a single video. Even to this point where, you know, this series is 854. I've done literally thousands of videos now. And guess what? I still think I suck. And that's okay, because I know that each time I do one, I'll continue to get better and better and better. And someday, maybe in 5 years or so, I will do a video and I won't think after it, I sucked, that was terrible, I forgot to say this. Because does it really matter? No. Videos, what I like about live videos is they're so short-lived. It's not like people are going back and binge watching my videos from the very beginning. So, although I will admit they're all available, I don't think that people really do that. At least not until they get to know us and they want to know more about us and more about what we've gone through. And I want to have a record of my journey so people get over the false belief that they decide they're going to do something and they snap their fingers and immediately everything falls into place. I wish, and it'd be awesome, but it wouldn't be awesome if life was that way. If we don't work for something, we don't feel like we deserve it or we earn it. So many examples of that in my life. You know, we have things that come to us like almost fortuitously, like almost like miracles, and those are the things we forget to appreciate. It's the things that we work for that we appreciate. When I was younger, when I was in high school, you know, I grew up with 4 sisters, and we weren't a wealthy family. My dad worked his tail off. He always had businesses on the side of his corporate career, which is kind of where I learned it. And I just thought that's how you be. You have your career and your job, and then you also run businesses on the side, because that's what I grew up with. But I remember when I was younger, I wanted a stereo so that when I loved music when I was in high school and college. I absolutely loved music. Can't sing a note. I have a rusty gate hinge voice, I call it, because when I was young, I had tonsillitis and laryngitis throughout my whole childhood. And that caused my vocal cords to be damaged, and I've got a really bad voice. My kids used to tell me not to sing, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll outgrow it. And then my granddaughter as soon as she was old enough, she'd cover my mouth and tell me not to sing. So I know it is what it is. But because of that, I loved music. I loved listening to music, and I wanted to buy myself my own stereo. And this was back when, you know, you bought each of the components. You bought the speakers separately. You bought the turntable. Yep, back when we had records and albums. You bought the turntable. You bought the what was it called when it did the different sounds? I can't remember what it's even called, but you had each of the components, and you had this giant tower thing that you kept every piece and every component in. And of course, the record player was on the top, so you could open it. And I worked for an entire summer to earn enough money to buy the different parts of my stereo. And I kept that stereo for like 20 years because I had worked so hard for it and I had earned it. Now, there aren't very many other things in my life that I've kept for 20 years, with the exception of my children, right? But there aren't a lot of things that we keep for 20 years. But because I had worked for that and I had earned it and I had worked hard for it, I valued it very highly. And so I kept that much longer than I normally would have. You know, technology changed so much that I had to finally let it go on about my, I don't know, probably my fifth move or something. It was like, am I really going to move this big thing with me? I don't listen to it anymore. And nowadays, you know, we carry in our cell phones that, you know, more music than we could have ever had. And I used to have a lot of music, but more in one little teeny micro player than we could have ever had in real life. But the things we work for are the things that we remember and the things that have a huge impact on our life. So today, our idiom was actually air your dirty laundry in public, which was kind of funny because I remember when I was a little girl, my mom would actually hang our laundry on the clothesline. And when we lived in the city, you know, she'd hang up all of our clothes, and we were horrified that she would hang our little underpants. My sisters and I were little then. That she would hang our underwear out on the clothesline for the neighborhood to see. We would always ask her to please hang it in one of the middle rows so that there were sheets or clothes or something on the other side of it. She usually did that, but we still were embarrassed. If the neighbor kids were over playing in our yard, we'd get embarrassed by that. And I will admit, I'm a pretty secretive, not secretive, but I'm a pretty private person. And I don't think the world, number one, needs to know or cares about whether I'm getting along with my ex-husband or not, or whether, when we were married, whether I was getting along with my husband or not. And so I always would shut down, you know, if he would start to argue with me or pick at me in public, I would just shut it down and ignore it, because I didn't want other people to know that we had a tumultuous relationship. It was no one else's business. You know, the same is true if you're having struggles at work and in your business. If you're having, you know, human interaction, guess what? We're human beings. We don't all get along, right? We definitely don't always get along. And the longer you spend with some human beings, the more you realize the things that irritate each other. Unless, of course, you make a conscious choice to focus on the good things. It's like focusing on what's missing instead of what is there. It's like being grateful for the way things are, not wishing they were different all the time. Those are hard-learned lessons, by the way. When I was younger, wasn't grateful for all of the gifts and all the things that I was handed, and that the advantages I had. I was always looking at what was missing, and when we're looking at what's missing, guess what? We get more of what we don't want. We get more of what's missing. So, are airing your dirty laundry out in public, but I twisted that to how can you actually use that to grow and build your business. And that's what I try to do, and that's what I do, I think, every day, is I take these strange idioms, and this is really funny. I secretly, content creation people, found this book when I was moving, and I started doing this piece because I was moving, and I needed something so that I could create content easily for my audience, which is a bunch of business owners in different stages, but they all are trying and striving to grow their business. And I thought, well, what is a way to continue to add value and open our minds and expand our perspective for myself as well as for all of the people that I serve, right? The only way I can serve people better is if I continue to get better. So I thought, well, idioms, I don't know what most of these mean. Let's start doing that. And what I thought would be like a, you know, maybe a 90-day project has turned into, I think today was day 455. So 90 days to 455. And I thought there's only 600 idioms in this book, right? And I probably shouldn't admit, but it is from my children's middle school. And actually, they had never opened it. I had gotten it for them in middle school, thinking, oh, that would be kind of fun for us to look at together as a family. And we never actually did it. It was a book that I found that was brand new. It doesn't look brand new now, right? It's all worn and tagged and post-it noted. To keep track of, after a couple of days of it, I realized I'll never keep track of what idioms I've done if I don't mark them somehow in the book. I believe in using my books and marking them up. Always have. So I thought it would be like maybe max 90 days to help me move from my old place, rehab, and then move on to my new place. Now here I am, 455 days later, still in transition. I'm still moving from, we've divested ourselves of the old assets, and I'm in limbo. A lot of being stretched out because of the COVID virus. Because of COVID, I am house sitting for my daughter and my son-in-law in the interim, which has actually turned out to be a really good thing. It's been a good thing for all of us all the way around. But one of these days here, I'm going to have to find where I really want to land and my next place. So here it is, like I said, 455 days later, and I'm still sharing idioms. And I like it because it gives me something to think about and makes me stretch my own mind and perspective, right? When you think air your dirty laundry in public, who the heck would ever want to do that for their business? I got to think about this stuff a little bit, at least for a couple of minutes, to figure out, well, what could that mean to my business? How could I use that to expand my business? And then share that with the audience, because why talk about it if it's not going to help somebody? What else is going on? Get Up and Go Challenge. I am in a group of 100,000, 150,000 people actually that have been challenged by the leader to all create our own 40-day challenge. Well, challenges are right up my alley. So when we were given the challenge to create our own challenge, not a problem, instant yes, right? Hell yes, because that's what I do. I figure out how to take challenges and turn them into stepping stones for myself and for everybody else that I interact with. Because guess what? Our lives are full of challenges. Every day, the challenge just to get out of bed, right? To get out of bed without hitting snooze. That took me several years to train myself to, as soon as that alarm clock goes off, I'm up and out of bed. My feet hit the floor. Because I know that that's the hardest thing I do every day. And literally, that's the hardest thing I do every day, to physically transition from sleep and, unconscious la-la fun land where I just get to relax and my body gets to heal itself and rejuvenate, to I'm moving through my life and I'm doing whatever it is that I'm here to do. So doing a challenge, a 40-day challenge, because he challenges to do a 40-day challenge, I'm all in on that. So starting tomorrow, June 1st, 11 o'clock, because I've been doing my challenges at 11, not because it's a great time for me, but it seems to be a really good time for other people. So 11 a.m. Central Time, Get Up and Go Challenge, and it's going to go for 40 days. I don't know what all the content's going to be yet. I'd be lying if I said I did. I did do a 30-day Get Up and Go Challenge in the month of April, just to help people realize that we're not stuck. We can create what we want no matter what's going on in the world around us. Now we've added riots to our plate, at least in my area, in addition to the pandemic. But it's just crazy town. But our lives are always crazy. There's always chaos and craziness going on around us, and we can still choose what we want and create the life that we want and keep moving forward in our life no matter what's going on around us. Sometimes it's harder than others, but we have the ability to do that. So for the next 40 days, June 1st to July 10th, we'll be doing, at least in my neck of the woods, the Get Up and Go Challenge for 40 days. 40 days. And I guarantee it will help you move forward in any of the main areas of your life that you want to, right? Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, relationships, financial, which is a biggie for lots of us right now, contribution. That's 7. Yep. And now I've actually learned about 2 more areas of our life, but they're pretty up there, so I'll probably share those, but whether you want to choose to work on those or not is entirely up to you. Just like everything else. Guess what? Everything is entirely up to you. Everything gets filtered through our past experiences, and we get to decide what everything means. I think that's one of the things I really like about the idioms is we can take that and we can learn what other people define it as, and we can say, okay, I get how they define that. I get how people define the word beautiful or gorgeous or lovely. I get how you define that. Now I get to say, how do I define that? What is beautiful to me? Because guess what? What's beautiful to you might not be beautiful to me. It might be, but it might not be, right? And we each, guess what? Every single one of us get to have our own reality, get to have our own definition and decide what things mean to us, and then choose based on what they mean to us, how we're going to respond, what we're going to do, how we're going to react to that. I say let's react kindly, because there's definitely a lack of kindness and human compassion going on right now. All right, so I would love to have you join me in the 40-day challenge. Get Up and Go challenge page. I can put the link below, but otherwise you can just look on Facebook, Get Up and Go challenge, and you will find it. It comes up as the #1 thing. And together we will do a 40-day challenge every day, and I've already committed to myself it's going to be 10 minutes or less. Every day has got to be 10 minutes or less, because I have so many other commitments going on, and I have my amazing granddaughter who is hanging out with me due to COVID, so her folks can continue with their lives, and I absolutely love that. And that means during the day she's my #1 priority, except for 10 or 15 minutes around 11 a.m. that Central Time. That's when I will hop on, and together we'll determine what our challenge for the day is going to be. Because every day, guess what? We do a little bit, and when we do a little bit every day, pretty soon we've achieved our goal and our objective faster than we ever imagined possible. It's called focused effort. Anyway, this is me from the lady with the crazy background and the chaos all around her. Focused effort. Even I realize the power of focused effort, and that it is a life changer and a game changer for our businesses, our lives, our relationships, everything. It's all about attention. Are we paying attention to the things that are the highest priority to us? Either we are or we aren't. And if we aren't, boom, wake up call, world, and all kinds of craziness and chaos ensues. All right, have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, just ask in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow, journaling my journey as I transition from brick and mortar to the online world, and help other people do the same. Take care. Have an amazing day. Bye. Hey, be nice to each other.